Hello, everyone. My name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is November 7th, 2022, and the stars are aligning. Don't believe the FUD. Go long and get out of the way. Not financial advice, but completely financial advice. My friends, the stars are aligned. We're going to talk today about why a huge, not big, huge breakout for Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptocurrency markets is right around the corner. Okay? We're going to look at the DXY as usual. We're going to look at the SPX. We're going to have a brief look at the S&P 500. We're going to look at the cryptocurrency markets. Obviously, we're going to look in depth at Bitcoin, what it's doing, and why we are still in an uptrend, as I've been saying on this channel. And if you do not want to be on the wrong side of the trade, right, most probably you should go long and get out of the way, okay? So that's my advice. That's my analysis. That's like that's the takeaway. That's the conclusion of my analysis for the past few months, actually, right? Everything's been pointing to that. It's not just one thing, okay? That's the conclusion of all of my analysis, and we're going to see why on the high time frame and low time frame, right, on the charts, why this is. We're also going to discuss in brief, right, all of the news in the cryptocurrency space, right? SBF, CZ, Changpeng Zhao, and what he's been saying about FTT and Alameda Research and FTX and all that stuff, and how this is not, as most influencers are telling you, this is going to be a catalyst for Bitcoin going to 10,000 or 7,000. Why this is likely not, and I'm just going to break it down for you mathematically, why this is likely not going to be a catalyst for a big dump. A lot of times what you see, and I talk about this quite a bit, people who are chart illiterate, right? And that's not an insult. Just people who don't do technical analysis, right? Or who do technical analysis light. They'll break open a chart, but then they'll spend 75% of the time talking about, what the Fed's doing and, when the next CPI numbers are printing, all that stuff, right? People who do that, typically, they look at an effect or an event, and then they attribute a cause to that effect. Okay, so they'll look at a dump and they'll say, oh, I know exactly why that was. It was because X, Y, and Z. And then they'll wait until the next effect, and then they'll give you a cause, and then rinse and repeat, okay? And that's where the whole phrase, the old adage, show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. That's where that comes from, okay? And this is why people who are technical analysts, right? Chart technicians. This is why a lot of us do technical analysis. But, these days, especially, with influencers, people who claim to be analysts, chart technicians, they're really not. They do technical analysis like I said. They'll look at a little bit of charts, but then most of their analysis is skewed, and they will bias their reads based off of some fundamental thought or some fundamental reflection, right? They'll say there's no way the price of these crypto assets is going up because the macro environment is too bearish. As a result, the chart's likely to show this, right? A ton of people doing that, right? But you do not want to do that. And those are the same people that are telling you not to do that, right? Because that's not how you do good technical analysis. You leave emotion out of it. But they're, they look at the chart and they see what they want to see. We all do to a certain extent. But this is even more of an issue when you mix fundamentals and technicals in that way, okay? In that way specifically. When you're not really doing technical analysis because you have in your mind the idea that there's no way, I'm talking specifically right now, I'm thinking about Gareth Soloway. There's no way Bitcoin's going to this price anytime soon because the macro environment, in his estimation, is too bearish. So it must dump from here. And so he's making stuff up on the charts. It doesn't even make sense, right? He's been telling us Bitcoin's going to 4,000, 5,000 for how long now? Okay, I may be wrong, but, this is why it's going down there. So again, technical analysis is technical analysis. Fundamental analysis is fundamental analysis. When you're doing good technical analysis, it literally has nothing to do with fundamental analysis unless, this is the big unless, the asset in question is fundamentally affected by some sort of pronouncement, some change, some a divestiture of liquidity, right? For instance, if I have a low cap coin and it's only a few 100,000 or a few million in market cap, and anybody sells or buys a few 100,000 or a couple million, that's going to fundamentally change the chart. That's fundamentally going to change the patterns of how that is traded, okay? Because it's just way too small and it's being affected like that. But again, and I guess this is a great time to segue into Bitcoin, right? What most people have in mind and what you'll see across social media today. All the influencers, most of the influencers, not all of them, most of them are telling you, okay, Bitcoin is likely to go lower if Sam Bankman-Fried and CZ, right? Sam Bankman-Fried being the head of FTX, CZ being the head of Binance, if they continue to argue and they're dumping one another's assets, so specifically Changpeng Zhao or CZ from Binance announced last night, that due to certain concerns, he was immediately offloading all of Binance's FTT holdings. Okay, FTT is the token, the exchange token for FTX. Okay, so he's getting rid of those, and that's going to change that market because that's not that big of a market cap. Okay, and then Sam Bankman-Fried, in response, said, "Well, okay, we can play at that game." I maybe that's like an impersonator, but in any case, if Sam Bankman-Fried were to go ahead and try to reciprocate that with the Binance token, with the BNB token, would that create a maelstrom? Would that create some sort of chaos in the markets? And this is dumping, that is dumping, and then because the market is uncertain, because it's creating some chaos, Bitcoin just all of a sudden dumps. This is the narrative that a lot of people are saying is likely to happen, because in their minds that's how the charts move. It's just chaotic. There's no order to it. Okay, and that makes sense, right? If you don't know how to read charts, if you don't see any patterns whatsoever, it's just all chaos, and might as well just ascribe stories to it, But again, this is what happens in small markets, and that's likely to happen in small markets. But in larger markets like Bitcoin, which is about $400 billion with a B, billion. It's $400 billion in market cap. Do you think, just do the math, what is 1% of 400 billion? That's 4 billion. So if I was a multi-billionaire and I dumped $3 billion worth of Bitcoin on an exchange, right, or over the counter, that would effectively, mathematically, it wouldn't move the Bitcoin market even 1%. I don't think Many people think about what they're saying when they're like, oh yeah, this is going to dump the Bitcoin price. Do you understand what has to happen? Do you know the amount of money that has to change sides from buyer to seller or seller to buyer to change the Bitcoin price? Right? So if you look at it logically, you look at it really analytically, and then you do technical analysis and you understand that the US dollar currency index, the DXY, is actually the market mover, then you understand, okay, that's where all that liquidity is coming from. And that's how this price can be affected. This is why we look at the DXY. And we don't pay attention to all the noise, the Twitter beefs and stuff like that. It's entertaining. But yeah, if you want to trade that, be my guest. Yeah, that's why most people lose. Most people in these markets lose because they have no clue what they're doing. They put all their energy into these, fun little Twitter narratives, and they listen to these influencers instead of doing their own research. Do your own research. Pull up a chart of the US dollar currency index on the monthly time frame versus Bitcoin's chart. Look at it as far as 8 to 10 years back. Look and see the direct inverse correlation. And then think about how, obviously the US dollar is the underlying asset to Bitcoin, to stocks, to, equities. And how if the US dollar goes up, these stocks, cryptos, all that stuff, equities, derivatives go down, and vice versa. Then you understand what you should really be paying attention to. Okay? So that being said, and that was a long intro, longer than usual, but whatever. That being said, let's look at the DXY, okay? This is the DXY on the 4-hourly time frame, and this is the pattern we're keying in on, right? This head and shoulders pattern that's been in play since September, mid-September, okay? We're in the beginning of November. Guys, we're almost at the base of this pattern. Do you understand what that means? Like, you're playing this bearish pattern out. Confirmation of this pattern is a break to the downside of this region right here, okay? You're getting close. You're getting really close, okay? Once this goes, it's gone. And that, my friends, that is directly or indirectly correlated to a big pump in Bitcoin. Turn this chart around and you see Bitcoin's price action, right? Because they're inversely correlated, right? So turn this around and you'll see a dump in the DXY is a pump in Bitcoin and crypto assets, okay? And it's not just Bitcoin, obviously, it's the rest of the cryptocurrency market. And it's funny because you can already see that. You don't have to wait. There's no reason to wait and speculate. You can already go in the cryptocurrency market and see exactly that. Okay? And that makes sense, right? Because we're in a bull market, and in a bull market, these altcoins move first. Okay? They move first. So we can expect altcoins like here, let's add Bitcoin dominance. So you can expect these altcoins to move first, and that's why dominance plunges, because dominance is also inversely correlated to Bitcoin's price action. Okay, so let's add dominance real quick. Guys, if you're getting value, please like, share, and subscribe. All right, let's do this. Okay, let's go on the hourly time frame. Let's get rid of our momentum indicator. And here we go. This is the pattern we've been looking at, right? It's an intra-wave correction, it looks like, right? This is a trend, this is an impulse. Intra-wave correction, continuation of the impulse. That's what it looks like we're getting. This breaks, this means, or this sort of indicates that altcoins are going to fly against Bitcoin's value. That's what that means. So it's right on the edge, okay? And why did I call this episode of, the Daily Bitcoin Update live stream, The Stars Are Aligned? Do you all know? Well, actually, I used to talk about this on this channel before, quite a lot, but I haven't yet, and I'm going to talk about why that is. There are celestial movements that are correlated with market events. Okay, I'm going to say that again. It sounds crazy, I know, but there are celestial movements that are statistically correlated with market events, specifically lunar cycles. Okay, and I used to look at lunar cycles quite a bit on the channel, but I stopped looking at them because they're not as, the correlation is not as important in my estimation until price goes into the impulsive mode, right? Until we're in advance making 5 waves up, 3 waves down, 5 waves up, 3 waves down. It's not as strong a correlation, right? This correlation is much weaker when we're in the consolidative corrective mode that we've been in, right? 3 main modes, in my estimation, right? Just looking at price action, doing this professionally, studying Elliott wave theory. The 3 modes of price action. 1 is 5 waves up, right? 5 waves down. It's called impulsive price action. It's when it's dumping or it's mooning. A lot of people know that. They're comfortable with that. The second mode is the corrective mode. So you go up and then you correct a bit, right? You go down and correct a bit. And then you continue to go down or you continue to go up, right? So corrective, okay? And the third mode is the consolidative mode, right? It's neither advanced, neither impulsive, nor is it corrective. It's different. Most people miss this. Most people don't even know this mode exists, right? Ralph Nelson Elliott called it A/B basing. Those 3 modes comprise all of all that is possible in price action, right? So that consolidative mode that we've been in for the past 6 months. 6 months about. That mode is herky jerky, it's up and down, it's very irregular. And it's a lot of sideways chop, what most people call it on a high time frame. So when you're thinking of, moon cycles and sideways price action, you don't really see trends. And when you're thinking of moon cycles, you want to see trends, up and down, okay? Trending up in and around full moons, trending down in and around full new moons, right? Just like that. So that's why I haven't been looking at these moon phases, but now that Bitcoin is back in trend, back in impulse, right? A lot of these altcoins back in impulse, I think it's great to look at the moon phases, and you can see. Let's go on the daily time frame here. Let's see. Okay, I gotta clean up my windows. I got all these windows. Let me separate them real quick. Okay, now I got separation. That works a little better for me. Alright, I got 2 Bitcoin charts. What do I want? I just need one. So let's get rid of this one. Alright, beautiful. Okay, so we're on the daily time frame. And we've been looking at this for what seems like forever, yeah? And this is what I'm talking about. This is a consolidative corrective mode, right? A, a series of A-B bases, okay? Ralph Nelson Elliott talked about them. Most people don't acknowledge them. You read Prechter and Frost, right? The de facto manual on Elliott wave theory, and they say, Ralph Nelson Elliott made it up. He was just kind of musings of an old, kind of out of touch, kind of a bit ungrounded theoretician. They discount it. But that's a huge mistake. That's an absolutely massive mistake. Because actually, without A-B bases, analysis doesn't make sense. You're busy trying to fit something like this into the mode of corrective price action or impulsive price action, and most traders, most amateur speculators and Elliotticians will try and fit this into some sort of impulsive price action, because that's the first thing they learn. 5 waves up, 5 waves down. It's some sort of diagonal or something like that. It's just like, it really hurts your analysis. In any case, if we take October 13th, it is, but this is October 21st, yeah, that's correct, to be the beginning of a leading diagonal, the beginning of actual impulsive price action for Bitcoin to the upside, okay? And let's see, do we have any indications that this is, let's see if the volume corroborates this. Let's see. Not so much. I mean, there's no like pop in volume here. I think the pop in volume comes after this move right here. Okay. At this point, you'll see a pop in volume, but still, I'd maintain that this is likely the beginning of some sort of impulsive price action, okay, in the form of a leading diagonal. Let's get rid of the volume indicator. And so, I think now it's a good idea to look at the moon phases, okay? And again, as I said, look at the data. This is not, some random assertion. This is based off of data, and you can look this up on Lunatic Trader. I mean, people have been doing studies about this for eons. Gann even did a lot of work. W.D. Gann did a lot of work on moon phases, lunar phases, and trading those things. But you will see statistically significant data suggesting that moon phases do have some sort of impact on market moves, up or down, okay? And so now let's turn on our moon phases indicator, okay? And this indicator you can get on TradingView. You'll see that on the full moons, right, and the full moons look like this on this chart, and the new moons look like that, okay? On the full moons, you should see some movement to the upside. In the new moons, you should see movement to the downside. But you see here, if you just look at what it's been like during this consolidation reversal, you kind of get that effect, right? But it's harder to pay attention to because, it's sideways price action. So new moon, full moon, new moon, full moon, not really, right? New moon, yeah, full moon, okay, got it. New moon, full moon, right? New moon. But now that we're getting impulsive price action, and guess what? We are about to print a full moon in the next few hours. Today's the 7th. It's today or tomorrow, depending on who you ask, but basically we're at a full moon. So the stars are aligning, or the moons, or the celestial bodies, whatever you want to call it. The stars are aligned for this massive pump to the upside, okay? Quite literally speaking. Now, again, this is all in what's the word I'm looking for? Concert. Yeah. This is all in concert with what DXY is doing, okay? And for Bitcoin to pump, DXY has to dump. So it looks as if we are at some sort of support level in the DXY. Okay, let's see if do we have this. No, we don't. No volume data on this chart, so I can't pull out the VRVP. But you can see that we're pretty much at a support level with the DXY. I drew this a bit slanted, but let's say I didn't. Okay, let's say I drew it straight. Okay, let's say I drew it like this. This is also another way to draw this. You're pretty much at support right here for this massive head and shoulders, bearish pattern. And so you're close to confirming the bearishness of this pattern because you're at crucial support. Okay, let's look at the chart on a higher time frame. Let's go on the daily. Guys, if you're getting value, please like, share, and subscribe. See, on the daily, it's very clear. You have this massively bearish candle. Okay, what do I say? It's a bearish candle. For those of you who study candlesticks, you know that a bearish candle is characterized by a strong wick to the upside. Okay, that means that for the candle to close the way it did, or for the candle to be the way it is, you have a lot of selling pressure from the top pushing the candle body down. Okay, so the candle body's pressed down and it's opened. Words, I'm trying to think. I do this so intuitively now, I'm not even thinking about it. Because I look at this way too often, but let me think about it for a second. What does this mean? Something about the candle opening. The body represents where the candle body opened, I think. Yeah? The top of the body represents where the candle... I'm sorry. I'm getting really, really confused. I literally... it's like trying to explain how you walk to somebody who's just walking. I couldn't explain it. Like, okay, first I throw my right hand forward and my left leg back. It's just I literally can't explain this. I can't explain it. But this is just a bearish candle, okay? For those of you who do candlesticks, I guess we could look it up, but it's not important. You can look it up on your own time. But something about the candle opening a certain way, but this is a bearish candle, okay? Bearish candles have strong wicks to the top, okay? That's all I know. And then bullish candles, it's the opposite. Yeah. The body's right here, and then the wick is down here, okay? And this is a bearish candle. So this is on the daily time frame. Obviously, this candle is not closed yet because we're still in the day, and this is going to go until 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But as it stands, I believe we opened up here, okay? I think that's what that means, yeah? And we're now all the way down here, or we opened over here at the body of the candle. I believe that's what it means, right? The body right here was the top of the body was the open. We went up and then came back down. Okay, and so this candle is likely, the way it's looking right now, right? It's likely to continue on the way down, and if that happens, there's potentially very important structural support that will be broken, creating a cascade of downwards price action, downwards price momentum, right? To continue this, these two red, massively red, bearish, impulsive candles to the downside for the DXY. Okay, That is really important. So basically, the stars are aligned. We are one. It's November 7th. This is, I think, either today or tomorrow, technically, is the full moon. Okay? We're at a full moon, which represents usually a market bottom for a move, right? So it represents a launching pad for, equities, stocks, right? These risk on assets. And the DXY is literally about to break major support that it's been holding since mid-September. Okay, and what did we see in Bitcoin? Right, that are approximately around the same period of time, you started getting, moves up. Okay, so everything's aligning for a huge move, not a big move, a huge move in the cryptocurrency markets. Okay, this could be absolutely massive, right? Absolutely massive. So, what does this look like in crypto? Well, let's get rid of the moon phases indicators because we don't need them right now. And you can use these moon phases indicators on more than just Bitcoin. You can use them on other assets. You can use them wherever you want, actually. Here, this is Telcoin. This is one of, the assets that I'm trading. And if you turn on the moon phases indicator, what do you see? See, the full moon represented the bottom here. And then ever since then, we've been rising parabolically. Okay? And we've been rising parabolically. And we're at another point of important support. Will this full moon represent a break of this support? Or resistance, perhaps? Right? It's not just Bitcoin that you can use it on. Let's try another one. Let's try Dogecoin. Very interesting, yeah? It's food for thought. Once again, full moon represents a bottom, right? And ever since then, you've been rising parabolically. New moon retracement, okay? And you're likely to get a full moon here, which is a continuation of this move. I, by the way, once said that Dogecoin was likely to come back to this 9 cent region. It's still possible, but it's not out of the ordinary because this is a bull market. Remember, in bull markets, sometimes you don't retest old resistance as support, and you just keep going and you create gaps. So don't be surprised, don't be shocked if Dogecoin retraces like this and then just keeps going on without retracing this top right here, the top of this channel. That's possible in a bull market. And this is why I always say, in the bull market, if you're going long and it's a macro bull market, don't try to be smarter than the average bear and sell off into strength right in the middle of a move. Just let it play out. If it's going to retrace intra-wave, let it retrace intra-wave. Who cares, right? What was this, a 10% retrace? This is a 90% pump with a 10% retrace. A lot of people who think they're way smarter than they actually are sold Dogecoin. They said it's going to crash, right? They misread the intra-wave retracement as a reversal, yeah? So yeah, this moon phases indicators on TradingView, and you just be careful because the default setting, and I don't know why this is, or at least it was, I don't know if it still is, but the new moons look like this in the default setting, and the full moons look like that. Makes absolutely no sense. So I just switched it, okay? Because it was driving me mad and didn't make any sense to me. yeah, so that's pretty much it from the moon phases, and this is why the stars are aligned. That's the analysis, in a nutshell, guys. Um, Young Dasa says, "Do Zcash, please." So yeah, let's add Zcash to the the watch list. Does anybody trade on FTX? Like, I don't know anybody. Well, I'm pretty insulated these days. I used to be like on a group with other people trading crypto and stuff like that, but I didn't really get anything from it, so I left. But I don't know anybody, or I did, nobody that I've known was actively trading on FTX. Like, why would you? Does anybody use FTX? Like, I've tried and I found it excessively uh, cumbersome. Uh, you know, like, what was excessively cumbersome about FTX? It's like I couldn't trade FTT because I'm American. I don't know. I just never found it. I tried to use it once and I was like, this sucks. It just doesn't. Oh yeah, I couldn't trade on it. They didn't have leverage trading. And of course, there was a US version of the app, just like Binance has a US version of the app, but it was extremely limited. Uh, and yeah, I just never got into it. But who uses FTX? Like, why would you need to use FTX? There's Binance US, there's Coinbase, right? KuCoin. I never felt the need to use it, so I never used it. Um, this looks great. I mean, on the daily time frame, look at this. This is Zcash, by the way. You see that? This big AB basing up and down. Whether you can read this or not, just look at this pattern. Right at support right here. Boom. That move's going to be big. Okay? And the fact, I've done this quite a while, and I've looked at and I've back tested a lot of these moon phases. Never surprised when I see a huge move happen on a full moon. And like I said, the full moon's either tonight or tomorrow. So, never surprised. Never surprised, right? Full moons are typically associated with big moves to the upside in these markets, right? Full moon. When you're going sideways, you don't really get much, to be honest. But yeah, once we go and establish impulsive price action, then you can see full moon price action, right, to the upside. So yeah, that's Zcash, right? You don't have to go into lower time frames. I think higher time frames these days is where it's at because these moves are going to be massive. And like I said, it's already happening. This is just my watch list, okay? Nothing else. But you can see Telcoin is already starting, right? And a lot of these low cap altcoins, they have to get a head start because they have a lot more ground to cover because they dumped a little more during the bear market, and they're going to rise a little more in the bull market. So, you typically need less capital in these altcoins, in these low market cap altcoins, to make a higher return on investment. So, this has just been rising, and don't expect it to end necessarily. Just bull markets are bull markets, my friend. See, you can see this on the daily time frame for reserve rights. It's getting ready, on your marks, get set. It's pretty much there, ready to pop out of this massive sideways consolidation that it's been in for 6 months. Synthetics, same thing. Look at that. It's right at the neckline. Boom. Right? Bitcoin is as well. Right at the neckline. Okay. I did want to look briefly at the. Oh, I love the DXY dumping. There's nothing that looks better to me. Oh man. Market cap, the DX or sorry, Bitcoin dominance is about to dump, right, on the smaller time frames. That looks good. Let's have a quick look at the SPX. Let's see. Okay. And again, people were saying, "Oh, the SPX, right? It's dumping, it's dumping, it's dumping." Like, what is bearish about a pump and an intra-wave consolidation respecting the golden pocket and then a continuation? People just don't understand. And being market literate, I think, just like people say, oh, you have to be smart with your money, you have to know how to balance a checkbook. Back in the day, they said you have to know how to balance a checkbook. You have to know how to open a bank account and, not put your money under a mattress and stuff. Just basics to being financially literate, right? If you don't know how to read a chart, you're doing yourself a disservice. If you don't know how to read a chart, how are you at all investing in any speculative assets like gold, silver, crypto, anything, the stock market? You're flying blind, right? Even a 401k, guys. Chart literacy is not just for people who want to be degenerates and trade the 100x, futures markets. In order to make sound investments, you have to be able to read these basic chart patterns, I think. Or else, what are you doing? Right? Who's selling this? You see this support region, okay? 2 degrees of AB basing, all that stuff. Clear uptrend, clear retracement. You pull out a Fibonacci retracement tool. You can clearly see that the Fibonacci golden mean has been held. What do you think happens after that, right? And I know it kind of gets technical, but then, just stay away. Maybe you might get lucky, but maybe you might lose all your money. I just don't understand how people, to get really good, it takes some time, right? To do what we do and, trade on leverage and stuff like that, yeah, that's not easy. That's going to take some doing. That's going to take a lot of work. But, just staying on the high time frames and using an indicator like the stochastic RSI, maybe, right? Or, just basic chart patterns to be able to trade, with relative competency. I mean, that, obviously, if they taught it in school, I don't know what happens to the markets if everybody's chart literate. But God, it's just not even fair. The advantage that we have being chart literate against people who they don't even know this stuff exists or that it's even possible. For them, it's just, oh, what did SPF say? Okay, well, I'm going to sell, right? Even people that are in this space, yeah, and they're influencers. That's how they do it. So it's really, guys, we have no excuse to absolutely demolish the market. None. If you're listening to this right now, you're probably chart literate, or you're probably intending to become chart literate. You have absolutely no excuse to be a multimillionaire. Absolutely no excuse. You have absolutely no excuse to make it. I'm not going to say multimillionaire because it really depends how you invest and what you invest in. But you have absolutely no excuse to make it, meaning to make outsized returns on your investment in crypto. None. They made it so easy for us because most people don't even think this stuff exists. Look at this. Look at Algorand go. Look at it. Right? This is impulsive price action. This is what people call parabolic price action. You see, it looks like a parabola, right? And it just goes and goes and goes and keeps on going, right? If you're not wise, if you can't read the fact that it's in a trend, in an impulsive trend, you try to sell this, you try to sell that, you try to sell that, you try to sell that. You get scared, okay? And you're looking for reversals. But if you recognize a trend, you just buy and hold, especially if you're fortunate enough, if you were careful enough to accumulate positions down here. God, you made it. You just go and leave it. And even if it stops up here and does a three-wave retracement down to 61.8% of this entire impulse, you don't care because you recognize that you need 5 of them things. This is wave 1, this is wave 2. You're getting an even bigger wave for wave 3 most likely, and then another wave 4, and then another wave 5. Do you guys see? This is the power of being chart literate. The power of understanding what's going on. And this is a daily time frame, mind you. We're not on the 15-minute time frame talking about, there's bearish divergence. Like, a lot of these influencers and people have large followings. They're telling you at the bottom of a market, mind you, they're talking about 15-minute bearish divergences and telling you to be careful. You can't make this shit up. But it's not their fault. It's your fault if you listen. And if you know better. There's no excuse not to know any better because there are channels like mine throughout. You just have to have enough discernment. You have to have enough time and attention. You have to care enough to do your own research. Look up, what technical analysis is. And figure it out for yourselves. There's so many resources. This channel itself is a resource. I benefit from it. And hopefully some of you do as well. I mean, we have no excuse to make it. This market's starting to be green, and it's going to be green for a while. For a few months, the very least. Okay? So we saw that S&P. We saw Bitcoin. Let's go through the rest of our watch list and then see if anything's pumped to a large degree and then call it a stream. Okay, Pedro says, hey brother, update on Lido if you have the time. Yeah, sure, let's definitely add Lido to the watch list tonight or today. Lido Finance. Let's see, what's the best one to add? Yeah, I spent so much time. I maybe watched every crypto, not everyone, but almost every crypto YouTube channel, right, in my development and trying to learn how to do technical analysis, how to, have an edge in this market. And quickly I realized, okay, there's a large segment of channels that don't do technical analysis, some that assert or they admit not to be doing technical analysis, but then there's an even larger segment of channels that pretend to do technical analysis, but know nothing about technical analysis. They're doing what I said before in the stream. They're doing technical analysis like they have a narrative, a fundamental narrative, and then they, look at small time frame support and resistance, and they, retrofit their views on the market on that technical analysis, or they just tell you it can go up or it can go down. They basically give you no substance, right? Not to say that that's not true, but they don't do any analysis because they can't, and that's okay, whatever. But I was like, okay, I can't learn from this, and then, I just sort of curated what I got. And, ultimately, I found that I continued to watch certain channels, but not for their speculation, but for the news that they provided on the market, general news, yeah? And that's it. But when these people try to trade, it's a travesty. I'm not saying I'm the best trader, but like there are fundamental tenets to technical. One of the main things is any trader that says technical analysis doesn't work and they're trying to do technical analysis, they're not going to be good because they don't even understand technical analysis. Because if you think it's not going to work, one, you're not going to be able to do it. And you're not even going to give credence to it. You're not going to take it seriously. If you don't take it seriously, then how can you be serious at doing it? That's number one. Number two, if you look at enough trends, if you look at the data, you know it works. You don't think it works. It's not some belief. It's not like believing in the tooth fairy or Santa Claus. Sorry, let me add this chart. Okay, and so you know it works. You just don't know why, you know. But you know why is the golden mean a thing? You know that you can see it in galaxies, in planetary movements, in the petals of flowers, in the flapping of a bird's wings, and like why? That's a deeper question. I can't fucking tell you why. It just does. Okay? So when I see these natural phenomena in our markets, I can't tell you why, but I'm not surprised that they exist. That there's natural order to things, right? There's a natural order to everything. The swirling of water, right? The swirl of the petals of a flower. It just, that's how it is. You know, Fibonacci ratios, all that stuff, they just exist in nature. And this is an extension of nature. Our behavior in markets, buying and selling on a large scale, you know, fear and greed. We're natural beings living in nature. We are part of nature. And so why wouldn't we also exhibit certain natural phenomena? In any case, I wish people would be more thoughtful about this. You know, technical analysis, why it works, how it works. Not why it works, but how it works and that it works and how to use it to help themselves. Because, you know, the idea, oh yeah, no, technical analysis doesn't work. That's just it's just a thing. So because they haven't really thought about it, they just listen to somebody say that, they're kind of in the dark. And you know, they're hoping and praying that something works, and you know, this buy works and that doesn't. They have no clue. They just have no. There's no basis for understanding. You really have to think for yourselves. You have to think for yourselves. Yeah. Any case. Yeah. Let's go on and just do this real quick. Okay, we're at the bottom of a market. This is the bottom of a market for Cardano. Okay, I'm on the daily time frame. I'm going to stay on the daily time frame. But you can see here very clearly that this is a 5-wave move and this is a 3-wave move. Okay, and that 5-wave move and that 3-wave move took around the same amount of time. So this is likely a wave 1, wave 2 situation, very clearly. And you're likely to get wave 3 in a few moments. That's it. That simple. Okay? So that's Cardano. You're at support. Bullish at support, bearish on resistance. You've been at support for quite some time. If you were going to break support, this would have been it. Okay? Obviously, we know, looking at corrective price action, that a B wave or a counter wave, right, can sometimes wick, or it can sometimes go beyond 100%. So like if the initial break of structure is like this, the counter wave can retrace beyond 100% of the origination point of the A wave, but you're still within the realm of this being a counter to that, right? You're this is still part of the same sequence of corrective patterns, okay? And this is kind of what you're getting here. But like I just said, if this were to break down, all right, this 180-day pattern in Cardano were to break down, this is when it would have broken down. Given that it didn't break down from there and it regained this support level, this is going to be the launch pad. This is going to be the point from which it goes up, retests the top of this channel, and then continues, okay? Maybe it does something like Dogecoin and just blows right through, consolidates, and then continues. Who knows? But this is the bottom of the market. Had you been buying this asset here, you bought the bottom of the market. Had you bought here, that's also not bad. That's still the bottom of the market, and on a high enough time frame, you'll see. Just wait a few months, and you won't care that you got in at 40 cents or 50 cents or 60 cents, because that still would be considered the bottom of the market. Okay? And the analysis may be simple. It may seem like I'm oversimplifying things, but again, this is a nascent market. Cryptocurrency isn't that old. Most assets look similar to one another. So right now, we've been looking at these 180-day consolidation reversal patterns for most altcoins. Okay? In Bitcoin, it's a little different. It's a little shorter. It's 150 days because you had this dump from here, right? And I'm not going to go into why that is, all that stuff. Technically speaking, why that is. But, this region of consolidation reversal is a little shorter than what you have on most altcoins. Okay. Polkadot, same thing. You're at the bottom of the market. Okay. You've been playing here at this support level for 180 days. And you finally started to move impulsively up and out. Okay. And what you're doing here is you're breaking some significant resistance to the upside. So at some point, you're just going to fly up, and you're going to, maybe test some more resistance up here. Maybe you're going to break right through it. But any buy down here is great. You literally bought the bottom of the market, right? I know we don't look at the daily time frame all the time, but I think it's important to keep perspective. Like, it may be taking months, but we've literally, the analysis, and this is another thing. A lot of times you're watching these channels like Frankencan. I'm not shitting on the guy. He seems like a great guy. And I don't know. I haven't listened to all 2 hours of his live stream or anything like that. But I watched the BitBoy Crypto live stream from time to time, and I see his quick hit analysis, 10 to 15 minute. And that's what I'm basing this off of. But a lot of times, and it's not just Frankie Candles, but a lot of times these influencer analysts will be talking about trading, and on the small time frames, just to have something to talk about. Because honestly, if you've tuned into my show for the past 6 to 7 months, we've been saying the same shit. We've been tracking this, granted, and it's been a little different, right? But we've essentially said we're at support. We're bullish. We're at support. We're bullish. If you want to summarize my hours-long live stream, all the hours of analysis I've done for the past few months, you could summarize it in one phrase. We're at support. I'm bullish. And yes, in that time, we've gone up and down and up and down. We've been tracking that. But essentially, we're at support. We're bullish. That's it. There's nothing else. It's not so sexy. So a lot of people are like, I'm bored. I'm looking for a trade. I'm looking for some more action. Tell me if it's going to go up or go down. Well, neither. Because right now, we're in consolidation reversal. And that's fine. I hope we go up. But if we do, maybe it's not finished in this consolidation reversal. But at this point, just judging by what the DXY is doing, I think we're getting these exit, what do they call that? When a spaceship exits orbit. We're getting these moves that are going to be large enough to take us out of this sideways range, okay? That's essentially what I'm saying. Okay? And it's essentially the same thing. Look, Ethereum, big channel, lasting 140, 150 days. You're going up and down this channel. You're finally consolidating towards the top of the channel. Expect to finally get a move up and out of the channel. Okay? And that's pretty much it. You're at support. You're at support on a high time frame, but then on this smaller time frame, you're at support because you're consolidating intra-wave here. And that consolidation looks like it's finished. It's called exit velocity, I believe, right? when a spaceship or some craft can exit the atmosphere, right? This is, I think these moves are going to reach exit velocity. RSR, same thing. You draw your channels. Nothing sexy. Past 6 months, if you had just been accumulating and doing nothing else but buying, it may seem like you're a one-track trader. You're overly bullish, and you're not doing it right. But actually, you were. All you need to do is zoom out, realize that we're on support. Even if we come up here, reject, and make a lower low, which doesn't seem likely, let me just say that, okay? Well, it could go either this way or that way. We could go up or down, guys. Subscribe and buy my course, fucking bullshit. Anyway, it's unlikely that we do anything like that. It's more than likely that we make the higher high, retest, and continue, and start the bull market. In any case, had you been just making one move, or one track trader, this whole time, you're doing fine. You're doing great. Okay? And that is still a very highly probable move up and beyond here. Okay? So this is RSR. Again, it's the same shit. You don't need any extra, oh, but how about this chart? Oh, can you look at that token? How about that? It's the same thing. And I think this is the beauty of good technical analysis. It's not always the same, but it's similar enough, at least on the higher time frames. Synthetics at support, looking like you're consolidating in this leading diagonal pattern for a big move. Boom. You've seen that before, right? We've seen these patterns before. Leading diagonals. Looks very, very bullish. Veracity, one of these small market cap coins. Let's turn the log scale on. Okay, but you can see you've been in that big consolidation reversal pattern for 180 days, and you're forming a rounded bottom. That's usually how bottoms are characterized. Tops are characterized by rounded tops, and you're looking to go up. You're gonna get that pump. You're gonna get that big move, and it's gonna happen faster than people think, and it's gonna look a lot bigger than people think. People are not used to impulsive price action. For the past 6 months, we haven't gotten any. It's been chop. Once price starts moving like this, people are going to be shocked, because they're going to be like, wait, where does this come from? Well, it came from all this fucking consolidation. That's where it came from. You don't consolidate like this for nothing. You're gathering buy orders. You're gathering buy orders and some sell orders, because some of those sell orders are going to serve as fuel by being squeezed as the price moves up. So both buy orders and sell orders are being accumulated. Once this price goes up, turns the sellers into buyers, and then the buyers obviously have already accumulated. There's enough gas for us. This is the gas right here. All of this stuff, 180 days. 180 days worth of gas for a bull market, which unironically may last 5 to 6 months. Again, this stuff makes sense. It's not out of nothing. Once you start seeing price action that goes up and up and up and up, don't be surprised where it came from. It came from this. That's why you have consolidation, accumulation. It's not out of the blue, my friends. You've been accumulating for 180 days. What the hell do you think the market's going to do? What do you think people are... I'm not the only one that's been buying my ass off for 180 days plus. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I've been buying even up here, not in this asset, but in other assets. In Bitcoin, I was buying on the way down. But most of my buys have been over here in these consolidation reversal channels. But again, most people are not paying attention. Most people are not, doing a live stream every day. Most people are not tuning into a live stream every day. Most people have no idea what trading view is. Okay, we're in the minority. Always have to remember that. Ravane on the high time frame. Beautiful. Beautiful. This is the bottom of the market. Has it been frustrating? Has it been annoying? Has it literally been a straight sideways, not like literally my position on this asset looks like it's been frozen in time for the past half year. When it starts moving, this may be one of my biggest gainers because it literally stood still for all that time, accumulating in a very, very, very tight range in a falling channel, which typically, when they break up violently. Okay? So this is the analysis. You can see it all over the market. Guys, do you see patterns? As technicians, part of our job is to see patterns. Do you see the pattern? You're at support. Are you bullish or bearish at support? Right? Even if, again, this were to be an intra-wave move, like, okay, you have a move down here. Some people who, out of context are saying, well, we're bearish. Why? Because you had an impulse down and you have a consolidation. So there's a higher probability that you continue the impulse. Yes and no. That's true if this consolidation is a correction. Then this becomes an intrawave correction, and then it's a bear flag, okay? But it is not so if you consider the fact that there exist what we call consolidation reversal patterns, or AB bases, the third mode of price action. And for those people who assert that this has to be a bear flag, now how the hell do you think price changes direction? If that were true, what they assert, then price would literally only go in one direction. You can never have a time where price goes, like logically, and goes back up and changes direction, or goes and does something like, does something like this. A distribution. It wouldn't exist. Because every consolidation would be a continuation of the prevailing move, right? Again, make it make sense. Think for yourselves, right? Not everybody, just because they have a large following, is clever. Litecoin. Here's one that is particularly bullish. Why do you know Litecoin is particularly bullish? It has nothing to do with what you like about it, or what you think about it, or how you feel about it. This is not a subjective statement or subjective sort of assertion. It's objectively bullish because you've been looking throughout this watch list and you have these consolidation reversal patterns, or what we call a consolidation reversal pattern, a channel, if you will, of price action. And this is one of the few assets that has not just hung out at the bottom of the channel, but has already tested the top of the channels. Okay? And if we were bearish, what would happen is this would represent a distribution point, and you would already see some sharp rejections, right? At this point. Where in the market have you seen price going sideways, right? Get up to that and then reject. Then I would say, ooh, watch out. There's literally, I haven't seen one asset in the months that we've been charting that has done that, right? Apropos of getting to the top of your channel, Dogecoin also did the same. It did a little better. Why do I think Dogecoin is even more bullish than Litecoin? At least at this point. Because of what it did. Not to say that Dogecoin isn't, or Litecoin isn't super bullish. I think Dogecoin benefited from being in the news. So it pretty much did what it was supposed to do, what it was going to do, a little ahead of schedule. And that's kind of how fundamentals sometimes play into technicals. It's not that it wasn't going to do this. It's a bit ahead of schedule. Okay? So again, if we were bearish, you would have wanted to see a rejection at the top of the channel. There's nothing bearish about breaking the channel and retesting it as support. There's nothing bearish about that. Use your own judgment. Use your own, make up your own minds. Figure it out for yourselves, guys. It's not that hard. Again, draw the channel, and in that channel, what do you see? This is Dodo. You're continually, or you've continuously tested the tops of this channel, and right now you're kind of consolidating above the top, above the middle. And what do we know about channels? Okay, and I've said this before on the channel. A lot of channels here. I've said this before on the stream. Channel trading is quite simple. There's 3 levels to pay attention to. There's the bottom, that's support. The top, that's resistance. Okay? And the middle, that serves as resistance when you're below it and support when you're above it. What do you see here? We're using the middle of the channel as support because we're above it. That's extremely bullish. We're turning old resistance into new support, consolidating at the middle of a channel for what do you think is likely the next move? Again, it's all probabilistic, but what do you think is likely the next move? Okay? So that's Dodo. Again, do your own analysis. You learn this, nobody will be able to take it from you. Nobody. And it doesn't matter if you're trading crypto. It doesn't matter if you're trading stocks. It doesn't matter if you're trading housing prices. You can look at a chart of real housing prices and say, I think it'd be a good time to buy for appreciated growth in the housing market, right? You can look at anything. Learn how to chart. It's a lifelong skill. It's like learning how to fish, right, in the past. Algorand, another example of an asset matriculating to the top of its channel and consolidating at the top of its channel. What's bearish about that? You see this time and time again throughout the crypto market. Telcoin. Draw your channel. 180 days of consolidation reversal. You've been 180 days. You even popped below, testing the bottom of the channel, grabbing liquidity on the bottom of the channel, and then what have you seen since? Okay? Nothing bearish about it, right? I got involved down here, literally at the bottom of the market. Do not pay attention to people who tell you it isn't possible to buy the bottom or sell the tops. You know why it's not impossible? Because on a high enough time frame, you literally have weeks to do it, months sometimes. You had months to buy the bottom of Telcoin. You had months to buy the bottom of Zilliqa, Veracity, Synthetics, Reserve Rights, so on and so forth. And you'll have months to sell the top. Okay. XRP. Again, another example. Being in a channel, popping out of the channel, retesting the top of the channel as support. It did this in this triangle pattern, and now it's popped out of the triangle, retesting that upper resistance of the triangle for continuation to the top side. Guys, what's bearish about that? If it were bearish, what you would want to see is 1, rejection here, or 2, a rejection here for that triangle to reject. Okay? Last thing you want to see is a bounce of the previous resistance turned into support for continuation. Okay? So guys, yeah, just use your own judgment. Figure it out for yourselves. It's not that complicated. But the macro, but the war, but CZ said and FTX said, but I was listening to Kitco News and Garrett Soloway said that it's going to 5,000. Like, use your own minds. Gone are the days when technical analysis was something that, only a few people knew how to do, and really, it's so arcane and such a niche thing. You didn't have the resources to learn it, even if you wanted to, right? Gone are those days. We have TradingView. We have, Ralph Nelson Elliott's manuscripts. We have Prechter and Frost's works. We have Steve Sinclair's work. We have his books. there's so many resources. You want to learn Elliott wave, you want to learn Gann analysis, you want to learn regular support and resistance. Pretty much anybody can teach you that. It's up to you. If you want to learn it, you can. Once again, you draw your channel. You see that you've been ping-ponging throughout these 180 days, and now you're slowly matriculating your way up and out of the support region of the channel. Okay, Zcash, same thing. We already looked at it. Boom, boom. You're at the bottom. Where do you think you're going? Right? Buy support, sell resistance. Keep it simple. Most great technical analysis, most great analysis is simple. That's one thing I learned, because trust me, I've watched my peers. I've watched their work. And one of the biggest mistakes most other Ellioticians make is by trying to get too technically in their own heads about, oh, I'll tell you what's happening. It's a triple zigzag with a twist. It's like, what the fuck? Basic support and resistance, bro. What do you think is happening? What do you think? Well, it could go up and down or down. So I'm prepared for both scenarios. Like, that literally means nothing. That is a tautological, that's a, what do you call that? It's a platitude. It's like, no shit. But what do you actually think is happening, right? Up or down, what do you think is more likely? Well, they'll probably say literally the opposite. But anybody telling you that this is bearish, change the channel. You're on support. Okay? Sometimes, yeah, being on support, you can break support. But there's a difference about being on support and forming a base at support, and then testing support, retesting it as resistance, and then consolidating underneath that support as resistance. This is a big difference. Big fucking difference. Okay? Lido Finance. This one's a little different, looking a little different. Okay? You can see throughout the market, we've looked at all kinds of examples, and this definitely looks different. But I'll tell you what is... Here, let's do this. I think we looked at this one before, yeah? I'm going to pull out another chart because I feel like there's a little more data that we can make use of. Let's pull out the Binance chart. Okay, great. So here, I think, is what I wanted to see. I think this is a 5-wave move. And then this move right here is a 3-wave move, okay? So this is impulsive, at least on the smaller time frames, and this is a corrective move, okay? And I think what happens after you hit the bottom here is a continuation of this trend right here. So that's just, again, simple. You can know Elliott wave, throughout, right? You can know about AB bases and, all the Fibonacci levels and extensions and, you can know all that stuff, but just keep it simple. This is clearly impulsive price action. This is clearly corrective price action. Okay? What comes... You go 5 waves, 3 waves, and then you keep it moving, right? You continue the pattern. So that's a wave 1. That's a likely wave 2. Sharp correction, zigzag, A, B, C, right there between 0.5 and the 618 of the previous trend. And then you continue after, of course, some AB basing. So here, in this case, it looks like the AB basing was done in such a way... The AB basing was done in such a way that you put in some zigzags or something like that, right? So like a series of 5 waves and then 3 waves, right? And then you continue. Maybe it continues and you get another move up and then another move down like that. Because remember, we look for 2 degrees of AB basing before continuation. So I would not be surprised. Okay, let me just say this to my Lido Finance people. I would not be surprised. Okay, let's say this. Lido Finance looks different than pretty much everything else that we've looked at on this watch list. Okay? There's always going to be some exceptions, right? But still, this is an uptrending asset, right? When we say it looks different, it's very, very rare that the market's trending up and then something's trending in the complete opposite direction. Very, very rare. Especially at the bottom of a market, okay? Maybe what's going to happen, or what you may see later on as we progress in the bull market, is some assets might finish their trends sooner than others. And so while others are still making their way up and completing their impulsive price action to the upside, other assets will start to stall and go into their distribution phase, basically putting in AP bases at the top of their moves, okay? And so you might see an initial break of structure, and so on the small time frame they're trending down. You'll be like, wait, what's going on? I thought crypto was all in sync. It is. So even though this looks completely different than the channel, the 180-day channel that we've been looking at throughout the market, it's still in an uptrend, right? 5 waves up, 3 waves down, right? We can anticipate 5 more waves up, okay? And this also may be a purely impulsive move, or an impulsive move in context of a correction, okay? 2 things that can happen here. What do I mean by that? So we all know that an A wave, or an initial break of structure, can also take the form of 5 waves, and a B wave can also take the form of 3 waves, respecting the 0.5 to 618 region of that prevailing 5 wave move. That's essentially just a zigzag, okay? So I don't know that this is a wave 1, wave 2 situation. It may still be an A wave, B wave situation, and then the preceding wave, the ensuing wave, will then be your purely impulsive 5 wave move up, okay? So I don't know. There's not enough data in this chart to tell me that this is impulsive, purely impulsive, or corrective. But what I do know, right, is that it's 5 waves up, 3 waves down. So I know that there's 5 waves up coming. However, I don't know that we're ready to go 5 waves up yet, because I need 2 degrees of AB basing. And that's what I was talking about. That's the third mode of price action. Your sideways consolidative corrective price action, right? Consolidative accumulative price action. So I'm still waiting for that, and that may, right? So for those of you trading Lido, just be careful, because look at this. 5 waves up, you have a nice ending diagonal here. So I'm going to pull my Fibonacci retracement tool all the way to the top here, because that is characteristic ending diagonal 53535. Ending diagonal will be 33333. Okay, so that's run of the mill, or just textbook ending diagonal right there pattern. So we can have these 3 waves. That was the meat of your corrective price action. But then your AB base in these zigzags can take you back all the way down here. And sometimes it can even wick down a little below that phi ratio. So I'd be careful. This is not like it's gonna go up like completely. Eventually it will. But don't be surprised if you still need 2 degrees of AB basing in this region, and you play in this area for Lido Finance, okay? If you're on spot, if you're doing a spot trade, right, and you're expecting the next big move to go up, it doesn't fucking matter. Just buy. Who cares if you retrace a little bit to the downside? But if you're trying to leverage trade this, be very careful, because this right here is the third mode, the accumulation, consolidation, or consolidation, accumulation, right? It's the AB basing, which is not super easy to trade. I hope that makes sense. And don't expect, just because Bitcoin and everything else is going up here, this chart is a bit different. I wouldn't necessarily expect this to go all the, if they're going up, this goes up as well. Maybe it does, but I wouldn't be surprised if this was on a slightly different schedule. Okay, slightly different schedule. While they're up, it's still finishing up its 2 degrees of AB basing before it actually resumes this these 5 waves up. Okay, so that's my take on Lido Finance. Okay, I hope that was helpful, Pedro. Yeah, I still learn from people. You can always learn from people. I think you can learn from people even when they're wrong, because everybody, I think, has something to contribute. Even people that are completely wrong, they have something to teach you. So I like to, when I watch other people's content, my peers, I go in with that mind frame, with that sort of positive thinking, like however wrong they are, I'm gonna learn something. Maybe what not to do, or how I don't want to present my analysis, or really, if I see a mistake, I'm like, okay, I gotta be really careful about that. Or sometimes they're doing something I want to do or I didn't think of, right? Like Dan Dowd really brought my eyes. He opened my eyes to the double zigzag, because for the longest time I had trouble reading that impulsive wave that Bitcoin printed. I was like, what the fuck is this? And Dan Dowd kept talking about double zigzags. He's like a double zigzag master. He likes the double zigzag so much, I think he sees it in everything. It's kind of like when you're a hammer, everything's a nail. He sees double zigzags everywhere, even where I don't think there are any double zigzags. I wrote him a message the other day. I said, bro, you really need to consider these accumulation, consolidation patterns. It would really help, because he's seeing double zigzags everywhere. But anyway, I learned a ton just by watching him. I also learned, I really like how he's very careful about being very precise in how he describes the degrees of waves in his analyses. I love that. I think it's great. He does it so well, so masterfully. So I learned from him. But yeah, I disagree with him on a lot of points, but I learned from him. And like that, you can watch anybody and learn from. You just have to be open-minded and positive. It's not about shitting on anybody else. It's not about thinking you're better than anybody else. Like, you just keep your goals in mind, like what you want to do. Like, you want to be the best trader you possibly can be. You're the best technician you possibly can be to, change your life, to change your family's lives, to make the best reads. Keep that in mind, okay? It's not anything negative. And you do your research, and part of your research may be to look at other people's presentations on Elliott Wave, what's going on in the market, all that stuff, right? Dragonfly Trading, I watch her as well. I don't like the can go up, can go down thing. It just, and sometimes, people counting wave 2 going 100%, retracing 100% of wave 1. Like, I completely disagree with a lot of those. But, still, there's always something you can learn, I think. Marie says, what's your price prediction by end of year? So I have it written down on my whiteboard. Projected Bitcoin top February 19th, 2023. Okay, so in and around that date. Okay, and I did the whole analysis on why that date was. I used the Fibonacci time extension, and I used a channel to corroborate that date. So it could be around there. So I wouldn't be surprised if end of February, early March, we reached near the top. And let's just look at it, actually. Let's look at it in a second. Okay, Marie says, I see Bitcoin Cash at 5K and SLP at 11 cents. Again, for your projections, not everything can be projected, because if it doesn't have a previous impulse, there's very little you can do. to give an accurate projection, okay? And I'm just going to talk about that really quickly. Let's look at projections. Because I've looked at projection for Bitcoin, looked at projections for Ethereum. Let's go back on this. Let's go here. Okay, so let's go on the weekly time frame. Okay, so this is the master chart. Let's get rid of this. So anybody who is not familiar with my work, this is my master chart of Bitcoin that I've taken Bitcoin and I've used the chart with the most data, okay? The index. It basically has all of Bitcoin trading data since the very beginning in 2010, right? Something like that, 2010. And I just charted it using Elliott waves, right? Obviously, the biggest wave is the cycle wave, and then followed by the primary wave in red, followed by the intermediate wave in green, and followed by the minor wave in purple. Okay, so I think we're in minor wave 2. We're just finishing out we just finished minor wave 2. We're going into minor wave 3. Okay, so that's basically where I think we're at with Bitcoin. And then if you zoom in, how did I project? So in answer to Maurice's question, I'm projecting minor wave 3, right? So this is the purple wave right here. Let's just make it bold for a second so everybody can definitely see. So this is the Elliott wave count that I have for Bitcoin. I think we're in this purple wave count. So you had a wave 1, wave 2 situation, okay? And again, we're using basic tenets, basic understanding for how you project or for how you count waves. You count 5 waves up, 3 waves down. How do you know it's a 5 wave up, 3 wave down, wave 1, wave 2 situation? Just like we do on smaller time frames. Waves of the same degree are comparable in time and in price. So you take your Fibonacci retracement tool, you can clearly see that this 3-wave retracement is between the 382 and 618 of this prevailing wave 1. So that is good in price. Now in time, you just measure the time it took for wave 1 and the time it took for wave 2, and those should be comparable. They don't have to be exactly the same, but they have to be comparable. Okay? So you take wave 1, that's about 400 days, okay? You take wave 2, right? That's about 400 days. Okay, and I'm not counting the consolidation reversal pattern, okay, which is the again, that's a third mode. That's like, okay, after it's finished, you do consolidation reversal and then you continue. So about 400 days, that I'm comfortable with saying that that's a wave 1, wave 2 situation. So in response to Maurice, how do you do your projection? Very simply. Everything's so simple, right? No matter how complex things get, I think for things to work, at least in this universe, it seems to be that fundamentally speaking, something is quite simple and regular, and you just apply that, okay? So we're taking wave 1, Fibonacci extension of wave 1, retracement of wave 2, and we know that wave 3 typically hits between the 1618 and the 2. So in terms of projection, okay, and let's get a little more precise. Let's use a magnet on this orthodox low. Okay, so we use the magnet on the orthodox low. So basically hitting the absolute low that Bitcoin came in this wave 2 at this point right here. Okay, I'm not going to zoom in, but just take my word for it. You can kind of see it. 1618 or the phi ratio is at 1.67 million. Okay, the 2 Fibonacci extension is at 4.91 million. Okay, obviously your wave 1 can be short, but the minimum is the one Fibonacci extension, which would be 294,000. Okay, the maximum is, there's no maximum because you can extend way past the 1618 to 2 in an extended wave 3. Okay, Dan Dowd likes to say that I think 4236 is the maximum, but I don't have any information to state that. That's a maximum extension. I've seen extensions go all the way to 11, right? That's why I have 11. But I love Dan. I love that about Dan. Like, most Elioticians don't get that precise. He's so precise. Even when he's wrong, I learn from him. I'm like, well, I always ask myself, where'd you get that? And he always has. There's somewhere he got it from. He's well studied and stuff like that. Okay, so I appreciate his take, even though I think he's terribly wrong on a lot of his projections. Like, he's seeing a crash. Okay, but again, I learn a lot from him because there are certain things I'm like, where'd you get that? Like, he's really well studied. I just don't think he's applied it that well. In any case, I do think, just based off of what we know on how do you project the wave 3 Fibonacci extension, this is a likely target for Bitcoin between 1.67 million and 4.91 million. That represents the 1.618 to 2 Fibonacci extension. And when will you get that? Okay, that's the question. And why did I say February 19th? 2 reasons. And I've done this in a previous stream. You can probably find it somewhere on the channel. I go in depth, but I mean, I'm essentially saying the same thing here. Maybe I'm just going a little faster here. 2 things. First reason why I'm saying February is I did Fibonacci time, because you can project price and time, right? So trend-based fib time, I use this tool. Bottom of wave 1, top of wave 1, which is, what the hell is the top of wave 1? Top of wave 1. Retracement of wave 2. Okay. And I targeted the 618. Okay. So you can see here. There's all of these different measurements, right, on the trend-based Fibonacci extension tool. There's a 618, there's the 1, there's a 1618. I even threw in the 2. So I'm thinking it may take 618 as long as wave 1 took to form. Okay, so wave 3 forms a little faster because wave 3 is really fast and quick and strong, right? It's typically the most impulsive wave. So the time it took, basically, I think as long as wave 1 took, wave 3 will be that much faster. It'll be 40% faster, essentially, than wave 1 and go further, okay? And that typically results in this kind of wave pattern right here. Okay, wave 1, wave 2 take about the same time, and wave 3 goes further, but it's a little more acute, okay? Do you see that? So instead of thinking, oh, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 takes just about the same amount of time, what you don't typically see is wave 3 linger and take longer than wave 1. Do you see? Do you see how this makes sense, guys? This goes back to what Prechter and Frost call the right look. Okay, there's a chapter in the book where they talk about the right look. You look at enough Elliott wave advances, Elliott 5-wave sequences, right? You'll see they typically look something like this, where wave 3 happens to be further, it's greater in magnitude than wave 1 and happen faster than wave 1. This is why, all right, just to answer people's questions, why don't you just use the 1618 and the 2 to project the time of wave 3? It's because wave 3 typically happens faster than wave 1. And how much faster? Again, let's use the golden mean. 40% faster, or 61.8% of the time wave 1 took. All right, I don't know that that's going to necessarily be exact, but that's just a rough guesstimate. that 61.8% of the time would have your wave looking something like I just drew. Something like that, which looks like what you typically see in a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 situation. Then wave 4 typically takes the form of something like this, and then wave 5 obviously like that, okay? So this is what I'm seeing in Bitcoin, and that's why I've projected it to come to where the 0618 is, as you can see, late February or mid-February. You see that right here, okay? So I have February 19th I wrote. So if I'd have to drop down onto the daily time frame to see, but I've done this before, so I'm just going to trust my previous analysis. I saw that February 19th. The second thing, again, your analysis typically has confluence or finds, some other, in other ways, you get the same conclusions, but by different means, okay? And this is what we call confluence. Where's the confluence? Another way to do projections, and you can read you can also read about this in Prechter and Frost and other places as well, is to use channels. Ellioticians like to use channels for projections, okay? How do you use channels? Very simply, you project or you channel your impulsive price action, and you have it respect the boundaries of the channel. But what you'll get from time to time is a throw under or a throw over, okay? What we call throw under is you break the boundaries of the channel. So the support of the channel is slightly broken or wick below. You go back into the channel, and sometimes you wick above. That's a throw over. And then you come back into the channel, okay? So here you have what we call a throw under, which is normal. You see that all the time. But if you project this move, it happens, so 1.618, between 1618 and 2 of this gives you a move all the way to the top of this channel, okay? Of obviously, if we went to 4.7 million, you get a bit of a throw over, okay? But that works by channeling. So both the Fibonacci and the channel analysis gives you a similar conclusion, a similar projection of that third wave coming to the top around February, March of next year, 2023. Okay? And then the last part of this analysis that really told me that I may be onto something, okay, is this right here, wave 4. Okay? And I got wave 4 coming back down to the support of the channel. Okay? Why is this important? Look up this date, April 2024. Okay? People who like to, speculate on the price of Bitcoin tend to say, oh, it's all about the halving. Okay? That's it. There's a cycle in Bitcoin, and it's basically dictated by the halving of the supply. And the next halving of Bitcoin supply is projected to be in April of 2024, which represents the bottom of the next bear market. If this is correct, then we top in February, March 2023, and we bottom once more in April of 2024, which is about a year from the top of this coming bull market. And again, you may get a throw under, just like you're getting here. Do you guys see? This is my analysis, and this, to answer Maurice's question, is my projection for Bitcoin. You could do the same thing with any other asset that has enough history. I did the same thing. I'm not going to go into it, but I projected ETH at approximately 500K, okay, using the same techniques, right? But you can do that on your own. It's fun. It's not that difficult. And also, I've got this on stream somewhere in my channel. Okay. But yeah, Maurice says he sees Bitcoin Cash at 5K and SLP at 11 cents. I don't know, because I'm pretty sure that Bitcoin Cash doesn't have an impulse for me to do projection with, nor does SLP. A lot of these assets are so new, right, that we can't do proper full-fledged projections on because they just don't have enough chart data. Okay. I'm pretty sure I've tried with Bitcoin Cash because I think Maurice has brought this up before. Um, it's so annoying. Just choose a fucking name. Bitcoin Cash. Either BSSV, BCH. What the hell is BCHN? Every single time I pull this up, I get annoyed. It's like I can't tell what the hell I'm trying to find. But anyway, yeah, I just don't have enough chart data because you don't have a previous impulse and a previous retracement to make a projection for the next move. Same with SLP. I'm sure. These are just too new, right? To make a proper projection using, elite wave theory, you need an impulse and a retracement. Then you can project wave 3. You need wave 1, wave 2 to project wave 3 and wave, and all the ensuing waves, yeah? If you don't have that, you can't make a proper projection. So, yeah, at least not with Elliott wave theory, okay? So yeah, that's it, guys. I hope that was helpful. I hope this was useful. I know we're running a little long, but whatever. We're having fun. And these times in the market, I think, are the most exciting in terms of speculation because this is before the big moves happen, okay? Most people, they're going to probably spend a lot more time, doing analysis when we start running. But that's actually when you do the least. So my streams, moving forward may be quite brief because all the time and attention on the market should be spent in these periods when you have a chance, you have an opportunity to accumulate and make your trades. Because later on, I don't think that you will necessarily have that opportunity. It'll just be, kind of watch it go 50% one day and watch it go 70% the next. You just sit back and watch the fireworks. You watch the show. But this is all the preparation for the big show. Okay, and this, what we've been doing for the past half year, this is, and even beyond, has been all preparation for, the moments that are to come in the coming hours. But you see, Link, I'm just looking at the biggest movers in my general watch list. Matic, right? Top of the channel. Vet moving to the top of the channel. Sushi at the top of the channel. Retested the top of the channel as support, right? And people like Will Clement were in Sushi and bragging about how they got in here and he sold, right? This is why you learn how to do technical analysis. You never ever sell the bottom of a bear market. You buy, right? Contented with this little move. Imagine selling this before that, right? That's insane. Absolutely insane. Imagine getting a position that favorable and then relinquishing it at this point for this, because you don't see that coming, right? I'm not shitting on anybody. I'm just saying, like, you do your own research. It doesn't matter how many followers somebody has or how few followers somebody has. At the end of the day, what's important is your analysis, what you think, and you're gonna press the button. And if you copy trade people, well then, that's on you. Okay. Let's just have a quick look at the crypto bubbles before we go. And guys, don't forget to vote. Doesn't matter who you vote for. Well, I mean, obviously it does, but I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. But just vote, please. Vote. Tomorrow's, the day to vote. But obviously, you can vote early. You can already vote by mail and absentee. Just vote, 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 vote. Right? Don't complain afterwards if you don't like the result and you didn't vote. So big movers on the day. Nothing really crazy in the top 100. Okay, top 200, you have a Xeon. I have no idea what that is. Talcoin, we know, has been doing some good work. Top 300, XCAD, Meta. Okay, cool. Top 400. Yeah, no big. I'd say no big fireworks yet. That has yet to come. We haven't seen anything yet. That's what I'm gonna say. Haven't seen anything yet. All right, Erewhon, whatever this is, top 600, 271% on the day. That's the type of shit I like. I don't even know what this is. We're gonna look it up real quick, but that's, when we're talking about bull market and Bitcoin getting to millions of dollars in a few months, that's the kind of insane stuff that we need to see for that to actually be, right? I'm making the projection based off of, my training, my understanding, my analysis. I have no idea if it's going to happen for sure. Obviously, I have some idea. I believe it's going to happen. I just don't know, until I see it. It's hard for me to believe sometimes. But yeah, we're going to have to see some major movement. What was that? That was, what was it called? The one that moved 271%. Erewhon. Yeah, what the hell is? I've never heard it. Erewhon. Yeah, it's more, you can't even get it. You can't even get it on a centralized exchange. So I'm not even gonna bother. But anyway, guys, that's all I got. Hope this was helpful. Hope this was useful. Uh, you know, I'll see you guys tomorrow for the live stream. Take care. Bye.